Welcome to the GHQ Crew Podcast, where golf meets laughs, legends, and a little bit of chaos. Before we dive into our swinging stories and banter, a quick heads up. The views expressed here are entirely our own and do not necessarily reflect those of the fine club companies we represent. So grab your favorite beverage, kick back, and let's get ready to tee off on a wild ride through the world of golf and beyond. Let's go.
Welcome to the GHQ Crew Podcast, where today I have no line. You know, and what I would love to point out here is that that's Clinton's job. And we have two special guests today, so
I wouldn't call us special.
Clinton's kind of over there in the, special's a loose term, yeah. But we do have the one and only Zachary Fieldhouse over here to my left. And his father, the legend, the general manager of the Midland Rockhounds.
Assistant general manager
of the Midland Rockhounds, Ray Fieldhouse. Welcome, my man. How are you?
Oh, I'm fantastic.
Zach, how you doing this morning?
Great.
We got a big game coming up this weekend.
We do.
We'll talk about that at the end and how bad my Wolverines are going to kill your Ducks. But that's almost funny, isn't it?
It's pretty
Because we're
funny.
so terrible. Ray, what's up, dude?
Oh, man, it's same as always. It's hectic. It's crazy.
Yeah.
We're going a mile a minute. The season just ended, but we're rocking and rolling.
Well, the Rockhounds had a pretty successful season, yeah?
Yeah, we did. We had a fantastic team, fantastic coaching staff, manager. We had our usual revolving door of guys going up and down, but that clubhouse, I've never seen more than this clubhouse did this year. I mean, it's kind of, the old back the days when the Red Sox actually won a World Series and the whole cowboy up thing.
Yeah.
That's how this team was. Like next guy in, next guy up.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
So how far did they get?
All the way.
So they won the whole thing?
We lost in the most brutal way to lose a championship in a walk-off in the final game.
Oh. You're kidding.
No.
If you'd have been playing, bro.
I would have been the one hitting that walk-off.
He's been this way since he was 4.
Yeah. So, for those of you that don't know, Zach is now helping us out here at the shop, and we just love having him around. But this kid can go. I mean, he can play. But the other day, they're in here, it's kind of slow, and him and Connor are throwing a little squish ball, having a little, what do you call that, throwing practice or
Playing
something?
catch.
Playing catch, there you go.
Having a catch.
Yeah, having a catch. And I stopped him like right away, and I was like, bro, what are you doing? And he was like, what? I said, why are you not playing baseball? I mean, this kid's throwing action is off the chain. Like, so dive into that. When did you stop playing baseball and just make golf the primary thing? And what led to that? Why?
It was towards the end of the summer after my 8th grade year.
Yeah.
I mean, I grew up playing baseball. I'd probably baseball my entire life. I probably added competitive golf when I was in middle school.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of got to the summer before high school, and I was like, man, I probably have a better chance of playing golf in college than I do baseball. And so I just decided to go all golf.
So is that kind of how it's become in baseball? Is it pretty difficult to get on a college squad now?
I mean, obviously you have to have the talent.
Yeah.
But I'd say, honestly, looking back on it, I think there's more opportunities to play college baseball just because there's more spots. Like, there's more baseball teams in college than there are golf teams.
Yeah. What I'm curious about, and, Mike Mays, we'll have him on pretty soon. His name is actually Mike Myers, but everybody calls him Mike Mays because, we're out here in West Texas.
Yeah.
Very
Kinda
few
like
people
La Mesa.
Yeah, exactly. And anyway, his son Bammer is a heck of a baseball player. Really, really good. And he's coming to MC. But one of the things we were talking about, I'm interested to hear from you. It seems like there's a whole ton of kids that, as opposed to going the college route necessarily, they'll get drafted. Do they go straight into a minor league system at that point? Like, what? How does that work? Or can they play college after they've been drafted? What is that all about?
I'm not quite sure because things have changed over the years.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure once you can get drafted and still end up playing college golf. But the second college baseball or
It's a golf show,
it's
right?
a golf
We're talking
show, right?
baseball. Yeah.
But the second you like play, then your college eligibility is done.
I see. So the minute you hit a ball or enter a game in a minor league system or in Major League Baseball, that's it.
Yeah. For instance, former Midlander Cedric Benson was drafted. And
John Rogers, right?
Yeah.
Same team.
That I'm not sure.
Yeah, John Rogers got drafted as well, I believe.
And Cedric would play in spring training and whatnot, but never played in a minor league season, so he still could play at UT.
Interesting.
Yeah.
It's kind of like Kyler Murray.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When he was at OU, he got drafted by the A's. I was prepared. I was like, dude, Kyler Murray's going to come to the Rockhounds.
He got
goes
drafted in the first round.
Yeah, I remember seeing him at spring training, and he ended up like a month later. He's like, oh, I'm going back to college and playing football.
Yeah.
Wow. So let me ask this question because I've always been curious about this. You know, it seems like baseball has like 864 rounds that they're drafting, right? but of course, I have no idea. And by the way, what a perfect time to have y'all on with the World Series,
Hey.
right?
Yeah.
I got to give a nice shout out to my man Bobby Boy last night. I thought for sure Yankees coming home. It's the Yankees. They're going to win.
Yeah.
Ohtani was hurt, is what he's telling me. He hurt his shoulder or something. And the Dodgers still win last night.
Ohtani ended up playing.
Really?
He had a partial dislocation sliding into the second game of the World Series, and they cleared him the next day.
Savage. Savage.
He is pretty legit.
Yeah. So, okay. It seems like there's 1 million rounds, okay, to be drafted. So, I guess, what does that look like for an organization, right? And more importantly, I guess, how does it affect your organization, the Rockhounds? If, say, a kid like Kyler Murray, as an example, gets drafted in the first round, but ends up playing football, what does that cost the organization, if anything? Is it simply do they have to pay for him after the draft pick, or?
No, if they don't end up, I don't know. I'm not a lawyer, but these guys all have pretty lengthy legal contracts that they sign. And if he ends up, even if like Kyler Murray ended up in spring training, he was on his way to his professional baseball career. If you don't, if you don't follow through with your end, then the A's weren't certainly obligated to pay him any money. And I don't quote me on this, but I'm sure any signing bonus that he received, he probably had to give back.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Because I know if I was like the owner or the general manager or the manager of the A's, right, I'd be ticked.
Oh,
Bro, I just wasted this draft pick on this clown.
Draft pick.
Yeah.
So correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't y'all get a compensatory draft pick for that?
the A's did, but not. It was the next year. They ended up with a compensatory, whatever how you say it.
Complimentary.
Yeah.
Oh, so they give them a pick.
Yeah, but I think it was they have a compensatory round between 1 and 2, and they got an extra pick in there. But still, that year you lose. I mean, it's wasted your.
They took him 1 overall.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you wasted
and-
your first round pick.
Yeah.
Kyler Murray was 1 overall.
I'm pretty sure that was a couple years ago. Let me double check.
Yeah.
And here's the biggest thing: you wasted a pick on a dude that went to A&M. I mean, it's,
A&M or OU?
well, he went
went
to
to
OU.
A&M
He was at A&M
after
playing.
A&M because he went to the great Kevin Sumlin, who's one of the biggest idiots of all time, and
I'm so glad I don't know anything about college football.
He was 9.
bro. He was starting. He was he was not starting at A&M. And I'll tell you the story. I was at an A&M game at Kyle Field against Alabama. And they've got whoever that other clown was in there. And that kid ends up throwing 5 picks in that game, and Bama just beats the brakes off of him. But Kyler Murray comes in the game right before halftime, and he throws one of the most unbelievable passes I've ever seen. And I was like, that guy, why is he not playing? Number one. And that guy could go pro right now. But he rolled right, plants
the lefty,
and throws it to the left side, plumb across the field, and hits the kid right here on the sideline. And I mean, it's not like he was doing this, when the game was completely out of reach or anything. He did this right before the half was going to end. A&M ends up getting 3 points right before half. And I mean, that was a big deal. It was an unbelievable throw. And then they bring in that other guy, Allen, maybe? Was that his name?
Yeah, you had Kellen Mond that was after us. He was Kyle Allen, probably.
Yeah, I think it was Kyle Allen.
Jeez.
Yeah, that guy was good. He threw 5 picks against Bama. Anyway, what is happening?
We digress.
Yeah. So anyway, Zach, you had baseball going. You start golf in the 8th grade, you said?
I've played golf with my dad growing up, but competitive-wise, I think I started in 6th grade.
Something like
Maybe
that.
earlier.
6th grade.
North
Every once
Texas
in a while,
PGA
playing some
stuff.
NTPGAs.
Yeah. And then he ends up playing college golf.
Yes, sir.
Unbelievable. Athlete, folks. That's what Zach is, athlete. Now, Ray, did you grow up playing baseball or golf or both?
Oh, I grew up playing baseball.
Okay. And then when did you take up golf?
So, I mean, we in high school we jack around. We were the kids that I scream at on a golf course. We were idiots.
Yeah.
Played a little bit in college, nothing. I really didn't pick it up till I was here in West Texas.
So did he have that influence on you or vice versa?
No, I think it was me.
Yeah.
I'd go out and play, and it's like, Lord would be like, well, what's Zachary going to do? I guess I'll take him with me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we take him to the course. He's 4 or 5 years old. And the funniest thing about Zachary on a golf course, even when he was little, he would not tee off way up close. He's like, I have to hit where you guys hit from. So what we would do is, I'd be out there with a group of 2 or 3 guys. We'd all tee off. Zachary would tee off where we were, and we'd just drive on, pick up Zachary's ball, and then he'd hit from where we were and on through the course. And I tell you what, I kid you not, where he developed his golf swing, he would endlessly watch videos of Ricky Fowler, endlessly, when he was 5, 6 years old. And everything he owned was Puma. Everything was Puma when he was in grade
Did he
school.
have the orange shorts?
Oh, yeah.
And
He had it. He had orange everything.
Yeah. That's pretty cool, though, man.
Ricky's coming back, though.
Yeah. Yeah.
He played all right last weekend.
I don't know what happened to that guy, man. I mean, probably life. He's been very successful. And, I guess I would say I've never been like the biggest Ricky Fowler fan. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But I've always had a lot of respect for Ricky. And when I saw him at Augusta and just the way he handles himself with the fans and just, the kids and everything, man, he's not a better guy, seems like. I don't know him.
I mean, you look back into it, obviously he's not Tiger Woods, but he's still has one of the biggest influences on the golf industry.
No doubt, man. I mean, I would argue that man pulled Cobra from the depths of despair.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Cobra was in a bad spot. And, Titleist years ago, I don't know if you guys know this, fun little fact. Titleist, a Cushnet company, actually owned Cobra.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
How about that for a fun fact? Did y'all not know that?
I did not.
Yeah, so they were part of a Cushnet company, and a Cushnet was like, just, running 2 golf companies. They're like, you know what? I think we've had enough of this. A seller or buyer comes along. I believe it was Puma, right?
Yeah.
And here we are.
Wow. Pretty
Here
cool.
we are. And they did a great job innovating with the company, but also staying true to what the company is. So if you look now and you look at the old, what were those, Clinton? 200, no, I'm trying to remember that iron set that was so popular. It was like I want to say it was a 2000 series or 3200, some kind of, deal like that on the iron, right? But if you look at those irons from like 2003, 2004, and you look at the irons now, you can see the influence of the company, right? You can see how they've really stuck to who they are. Never really changed much as far as that goes. And the drivers have always been pretty forgiving. They've always offered kind of like a tour type head. But for the most part, it's more game improvement centered, more offset type stuff, eliminate slices, right? And back in the day, the Shark was playing them. Greg Norman. And dude, you talk about bringing some awareness to a company.
Yeah.
That guy's influence is crazy. So when Ricky came along, when Norman got out of the golf industry, Cobra did this, and then Ricky came along and really revitalized that whole company. So he had a huge influence on the game, but also really helped pull a company, out of the basement.
Oh, yeah.
That's the way I'd say it.
I remember when I was a kid, all I wanted was that orange driver with the Puma hat head cover.
Did he get it for you?
No.
I got the driver. Or no, I got the head cover.
You got the head cover?
Just the head cover, not the driver.
Are you talking about with the flat bill hat on it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a good one. That was a cool one. I think what's really cool is the dynamic between you guys has always been a pleasure to watch, right? But Zach, speaking of that 5-year-old that's got a hit from you, he's always had that swag, hasn't he?
Yeah, pretty much.
It's just kind of that. He's just cool. He's just a cool dude.
I can see
I don't know what that is.
Here goes his head.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm thinking about getting a haircut. I can't decide if I want to grow it out or cut it.
Yeah,
I don't know.
It's kind of like Connor over there. I don't know how I feel about it. I mean, it's a glorious flow he's got working. And maybe I'm just jealous because I don't have any hair. But I don't know. I'm more of a high and tight guy.
Sometimes you get in the shower and you're just like, this is too much.
Yeah.
It's like
How long
washing
have you
your
been
hair.
growing that, Pods?
I mean, I've always had long hair for the past, since my sophomore year in high school.
Yeah, since his sophomore year.
Yeah. You rock it, bro. You got a little salt and pepper in there, a little country, a little rock and roll.
Man, yeah, it's getting. This is the longest I've had it in a long time. If you knew me back in the early '90s, late '80s, you'd be like, "Who's that? Who's that hoodlum?"
Really?
Yeah, I remember he's from California.
So what? It was a super long or what?
Oh yeah, it was long.
So I just thought of this. How far did you get in the game of baseball?
Oh, nowhere.
Did you just play through high school?
Yeah, even that. I mean, high school I hadn't hardly played, and played summer ball and stuff. But
Just love the game.
I just loved playing.
Yeah.
Shoot, I still remember back when we played summer ball. There was only one high school in our town, so it's like, countless guys didn't get to play in high school, and so our senior Babe Ruth league basically, they kind of split up the high school team in 4, and then filled it in with other guys, and I was kind of ragamuffin back then. You got to remember, this is like the early '80s. I graduated in high school in '83. I still remember our shortstop one night called timeout and go up to the pitcher's mound, and I'm playing second base, and we all kind of walk up, kind of with puzzled looks. It's like, what's wrong? Why are you calling timeout? He's like, oh, nothing. I just need to refresh my dip. We're 16, 17 years old.
Yeah.
It's a little
Got to get a
different.
freshie in there.
Yeah, it's a little different back in the '80s.
Dude, there's so many things. Like, as a golfer, I say this all the time, especially if you're a guy in a fitting, right? I'll say you got 2 things working against you. One, you're a dude. We like to fix everything, right? So we're constantly analyzing the swing. We're trying to fix things that really don't need to be fixed, right? We look at it at this, very micro level instead of looking at the big picture.
Sure.
And then the second thing you got going against you is you're a golfer. I mean, we're all nuts, right? We all have our little things that make us crazy. Baseball seems to be another sport that has a lot of those little nuances to it. The superstitious,
It is a very
thing.
superstitious sport.
Yeah.
Pitchers are the worst.
Really?
The pitchers get the worst about it for sure.
Is it, because I've seen like guys like jump over the line, and I've seen them, when they're leaving the field or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, what's the weirdest
That's just
thing
the
you've
beginning
seen?
of it, though.
Yeah?
Yeah.
There was, I forget his name. He came up with the rock hounds, but he'd come in and like no one would say a word to him. Not a thing. And I was little and I didn't know much. I remember the first time, his first day, he was starting that day, and he comes in and I was like, "What's up?" And he just walked right past me. He's like, "That was weird." And someone came after me, "Yeah, he doesn't talk to people when he starts." And so like the entire day goes by and he doesn't say a word until he gets in the dugout. Like I remember I bat boyed and he pitches, comes in, and then he was like, "Hey, what's up?" I'm like, "Oh, there it is." But the entire day before the game, he will not say a word.
So he like made up with you.
Yeah.
He was like, "Hey, dude, sorry about that."
But then there are other guys. I mean, Sonny Gray, he was just part of the gang,
Yeah.
coming up with the rock hounds. I'm sure he had his superstitions, but he just like, it's just another day.
That's freaking-
Countless guys over the years were, just good guys. And then, there are countless guys that were, God, I don't want to talk to that guy. He's a jerk.
Yeah. Yeah, it was funny because we had Jared Turner on here that played on the PGA Tour for a little bit. And one of the things we talked about was, a mindset, right? And for him, it could come across as he wasn't, being a nice guy or whatever, right? But Jared's a very nice guy. But in that arena, when he's on the golf course, when he's in between the ropes, it's on.
Yeah.
There
he's
are
in
no
the
friends,
zone. No.
right? And like he is centrally focused on playing the game. And I think from so many times we'll see an athlete, and we're like, "Oh, hey, whoever, and can you sign my ball or whatever?" And they're focused on trying to play the game. And I'm sure if you tried to get them after the game, it'd be all good.
Yeah.
Unless they lost.
Right.
If you lost, or a big game or something, that'd be terrible. But
That's kind of something I never noticed until I got to college.
yeah,
In high school, like, I'm not dogging on high school golf, but like there's some kids that are just there to have fun,
sure.
And so like you'd be playing in tournaments and this kid's like, or whoever you're playing with just really just wants to talk the whole time. And I'm like, man, I'm just trying to play golf. Like
Yeah.
I'm locked in, like I'm playing in a tournament. And like sometimes like it's hard. Like, it's like I get it. But at the same time, it's just like you get to the college level and it's just like no one's talking.
Yeah,
Like every once in a while, "Hey, what'd you get on that hole?" That's it though.
yeah. You're focused.
Yeah.
You're playing.
Yeah.
I'm just curious, did you have any weird superstitious stuff from baseball that carried into golf?
I always carried 3 tees in my left pocket.
3 T's in the left pocket.
News to me.
See? That's what we do here, man. We dig. We find the answers.
I talk about him about being in the zone. The thing with Zachary is, it's like whether he's doing bad or playing the round of his life. Doesn't want anybody talking to him. Don't tell him anything because
If I'm playing bad,
So he's
it's
like
a
the
little
pitcher.
different story.
Yeah, he just like wants to like the last hole. He doesn't want to be thinking about the last hole. So don't tell him to cheer up. Get better. Don't try to analyze how good he's playing. He just wants to focus. I still remember there's a dad in this area that we'd end up in PPGA, Texas Junior Golf tournaments, and constantly want to be like trying to chat up Zachary and good job, you're all right. He just double bogeyed. It's like, "Oh, you'll be all right. And Zachary's like, "Can you tell this guy to just shut up and leave me alone?" But that's like Lauren. I truly found another level of my love for golf through Zachary that I sometimes enjoy to this day, walking a golf course and not playing.
Yeah.
Just watching, especially as he got older and, by the time he was a junior, he was in the top 5 and playing all the varsity tournaments. And seeing, watching that level of golf, it's fun,
Yeah.
walking a golf course.
Yeah. I think that's one of the most awesome parts of the game is, and we all have that moment at some point, and I think that's part of the addiction. We always talk about, you always hit that really good shot at the end of the round that keeps you coming back, or
That
whatever.
was me.
Yeah, you played terrible the entire round, and then you just flush one on 18 and knock it in there to 2 or 3 feet and make it or something. That brings you back. You don't suck after all, right, or whatever.
Right.
But that constant pursuit of the game, that's obvious. But I think there's also a moment that we've all probably had on the golf course where we go, dang, look at this place. This is sweet. Like,
Yeah.
I could be at work right now. I could be doing this. I could be doing that. But I'm here. This is awesome. And there's something about, and you've probably had a lot of these playing high school golf and stuff, where you get out there and it's not so fun in terms of the wind and the rain and this and that. But there's also those mornings that you get out there and you're the first one off and the dew's still on the ground and the sun's just barely creeping, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of a crisp air, and it's, dang, man, it doesn't get any better than that.
It's my favorite time to be on a golf course.
Heck yeah. And, we just had a few days last week that were overcast. I was so sad that I couldn't go play, man. Because that's my favorite weather to play in. And we just don't get that around here very often.
Very seldom.
It's usually 5,000 degrees outside. But
Yeah.
I think for all of us in the game, there's that moment of the golf course majesty as well, right? So, in fact, we had, I don't know if you know the Snells. Have you ever met John Snell and his boys?
Yeah, I think I know one of his boys.
Okay. So Daniel was in here yesterday, and we had to fix a club for him real quick. But dude, they play some of the most amazing places, but it's become a family thing. And so now John has passed this down to Daniel, and Daniel's taken the bull by the horns, right? I mean, they go overseas and play. They've played Abandoned Dunes multiple times, and the stories that those guys come back with, and just they're very rarely about telling you hole by hole what they did.
No, they're just talking about the trip and how much
beautiful
fun
the course is, and the history. Dude, he was talking about St. Andrews, and I didn't realize how hard it was to get on. But
They
anybody,
won the lottery, right?
oh yeah, well, there's 3 basic ways that you can try to get on. So the first one is in August. You can get online on their little website deal and sign up and try to win the lotto, right? And they draw for that in September. And then you'll get an email within a month telling you if you got in or you didn't. And then there's the second way, which I believe you have to, it's another lottery type system, but I think I'm trying to remember exactly what he told me, but essentially same type of deal. You sign up from a singles perspective, right? So you can, there's a deal where you can just sign up to be on a singles waiting list, if you will.
Yeah.
And if your number gets called because enough foursomes didn't come out, then you're good to go, right?
Is that kind of like the singles line on the ski lifts?
Yeah, probably,
Well, it's kind of, I think the singles one is like the day-to-day one. Like you do it there. Like you go to,
Correct.
there's one, okay.
Yeah, he waited pretty much all day, and
Yeah.
listen how lucky he got. So a foursome ended up no-showing. And this is not uncommon, by the way, because several of the courses, well, like if they had played there before and they had an opportunity to go play a different course,
Yeah.
and and some of those other courses are really hard to get on as well.
yeah.
And Daniel was telling me, this happens all the time.
That's crazy.
You'll be standing there at one course that's close to St. Andrews, and then you get a call that says you're in.
Tee off in 30 minutes.
See ya. Even if you've paid your money here, you're gone.
Oh, yeah.
And you're going to St.
Can't say
Andrews.
no to that.
But so anyway, a foursome didn't show up, and he got his number called.
That's
and the funny part of that story is John was like, "Nah, I'm good. And he's like, are you freaking kidding me? Like, you need to come play. And he's like, been there, done that type of deal, I'm sure. But anyway, what a cool deal, and what a cool way to do that with the family. I was like, man,
So is
that's a life goal right there. That'll be sweet.
that's his other son, Timothy Snell. Right?
Timothy,
Okay.
yep.
I know him.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Tim's
Yeah.
Tim's one of my very favorite people on the planet,
Yeah.
man. He's a cool character, man.
He ran Green Acres for a while.
Yeah,
didn't
he did.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and he was, all the Snell boys, Daniel, Ben, and Tim can all hit it.
Oh yeah.
And Daniel's wife, funny enough, I did a fitting for her. She wanted blades, folks,
Wow.
and she can hit them.
Wow.
She can hit them. They look the best to her, and that's what she wanted to roll with. And I was like, copy that. And she hits it really well with them. So I think that's a prerequisite for them. You have to like golf, or at least be able to tolerate golf.
I'm surprised I even still enjoy golf. The very first real set of clubs, like full set that were, the same. It was like your pitching wedge through 3-iron were the same clubs, I
Right.
think. I was in college and I worked in the back room of pharmacy, taking deliveries and whatnot. And the guy that owned the place, his son was also a pharmacist there, and he sold me a set of clubs for $25. And and the bag was probably heavier than the set of clubs. And for the longest, and they were blades. I don't know why I ever kept playing golf, because I couldn't hit these things for nothing.
Yeah.
Finally I had those all through college, and still had them when I moved to West Texas. And a guy I met, was a golfer and took me out to play, and he's like, "What are you hitting?" I'm like, "I don't know. It's what I've had for 10 years." He's like, "Oh, dude, you need some cavity backs. Your game, you'll love this game even more." And I know I've got a, kind of moderately priced at a cavity back short time after that. And like, this is what it's like to hit a golf shot.
Yeah. So did your dad get you involved?
No,
No.
my dad didn't play golf till he retired.
Wow.
Now he's about to turn 90 and he plays.
Yeah.
Does he still play once a week?
Not once a week anymore, but he used to play a little executive course, 10 holes, 2 par 4s, 8 par 3s. My dad is very OCD, and more than 2 hours on a golf course is a waste of his time. He's got, he still has his workshop. If he doesn't have a project going on in the workshop, he's finding a project, because has to have something to do every day. Every day is like,
He still works out every day too.
yeah. He goes to the gym every
day.
morning.
Well, that's how you get to 90.
Yeah.
That's a good way to
He's
do
gonna
it.
wear us all. He's gonna outlive us all.
I think I need to learn from him.
Yeah. Well, what I've seen, and I think, Zachary, for you can comment on this if you think this is correct, but both of you guys seem to run pretty calm. You're pretty even keel. You don't see a huge explosion. Is that true? Because Ray seems like a pretty calm, cool, collected dude.
During the day, I would say I am. When I get home and my medicine, I have ADHD.
Okay.
And so as soon as that medicine wears off, I just hit the fan. You can ask him. I'll be walking down the hallway making random noises. I can get crazy without my medicine for sure.
But you stay pretty
Yeah.
even keel, and on the golf course, that's such a huge deal, right?
Oh yeah.
If you have big highs and big lows, it can be an issue.
Speaking of him and ADHD, 3 things that he excels at beyond your average kid. I'm not trying to say Zachary's the end all to anything, but he's pretty accomplished at 3 things: fishing, hunting, and golf. And how somebody that is ADHD can excel at 3 things that require a lot of patience,
Sure.
a lot of concentration.
Yeah.
And it's funny, but all 3 of those things I do better without my medicine.
Really?
So when I'm like fishing, it's like, I like the quiet, and I just let my thoughts ramble ramble and ramble. So like
Yeah.
without my medicine, my thoughts are just going. So I enjoy it.
Yeah.
When I'm on my medicine, I'm just staring at the water like a zombie. It's like, this isn't fun.
Yeah.
And then on the golf course, it's like, I think I get more creative when I'm not on my medicine.
Yeah. Like you see shots better and,
Yeah.
and stuff like that.
For sure.
Yeah. You know, when we had Martin Board on, you know, Martin struggled with it mightily as well. And I think part of what made him really good was the fact that he had that, right? Because I think that creativity side of it is a big deal. I really do. I think that's where, if you look at guys like Phil Mickelson and you know, Tiger, Fred Couples, Ricky Fowler's a good one, Scotty Scheffler's a really good example. Bubba Watson is a good example. These guys have such creativity with the shot shapes and like what they see. You know, it's things that you've heard it a million times, announcers on TV going, what is he doing? Where is he going with this one, right? And it's just a phenomenal shot. But I think that creativity has such a big influence on your game. I really do. I think it can really, really help, especially around the greens. You know, the creativity that you have to hit some of the pitch shots. And I mean, let's not forget, I mean, the Bubba pitching wedge out of the trees at the Masters.
It's one of my favorite shots ever.
I mean, bro, people don't realize how awesome that shot was. And there's been the 1-iron, you know, discussions of what about that shot or this shot. Dude, if you have not gone down to number 10 at Augusta and looked at where Bubba Watson was standing and seen how good that shot was, you just don't know.
Dude,
I mean,
he made a wedge turn over a ball 90 degrees.
yeah.
And it was what, a 56 degree? Well,
I can't remember. It was either a pitching wedge or like a gap wedge maybe.
But that's just insane.
Dude, he had to hook it like a zillion yards to get it around that tree. And then on top of that, hits it the right number.
It's like 10 feet.
You know what I'm saying? Like it was so stupid. And the reason I say it that way is because if you're right-handed like most people are, right? That it's unhittable there. Like you're going to have to go backwards.
Yeah.
You cannot hit any type of shot towards the green if you're right-handed from that spot.
No way.
You just can't do it.
No.
I mean, it's one of the greatest shots that have ever been hit.
Think of it, okay. I mean, people know I'm not a huge Tiger Woods fan, but I think one of the top 2 golfers all time, right?
It's the greatest.
Greatest golfer of all time, but yeah.
Well, I think Jack Nicklaus was.
Yeah, of course. Here we go.
But
I love
everybody
it. That's a
knows
great debate.
everybody knows his shot out of the bunker. You know that he faded that shot, right?
8-iron.
8-iron out of the bunker, fades that shot in on the green. That thing probably only was maybe 15, 20 degrees.
Yeah.
Compared to
That was probably 30, 40.
you know, and
was a
right-handed
big
guys
cut.
you can't intentionally hit a 90-degree cut. I don't think you can as a right-handed golfer.
I will say it's easier to overhook a shot, but it's still just
Yeah, for sure.
like going to stand there and look at, like even looking at the overview of that shot, it's just like, no, that's not possible.
No.
That didn't happen. There's no way.
And the thing is, Jared already hit on it and to get the distance.
Bingo.
Yeah.
That's the deal.
Yeah, because
If you're hitting a big
shot
cut like that, it's spinning. It's so hard to
If
control
that
it.
shot is straight, I mean, it's 50 to 100 yards longer than where he had to go with it.
Yeah. Yeah, it was, dude, people just don't know how crazy good that shot was. By the way, that kind of segues into something. You started it. Why is Jack better than Tiger? From the expertise and the knowledge that you have, I mean, you've been around great baseball players and stuff. You've seen great
I'll
athletes
tell
your
you,
whole life.
for the same reason, you can't compare Ohtani to Babe Ruth.
Okay.
Why?
So you're a generational guy.
No, equipment.
Oh.
You put Jack Nicklaus in the same equipment Tiger Woods is hitting, I think Jack wins 30 more tournaments.
if you're comparing it that way, though, everyone else would be playing the equivalent, so it's still.
I'm
the
not
same.
discounting Tiger's skill. I gave you credit. He's
I'm not.
top 2 all time. But the guys, Bobby Jones, you put Bobby Jones in today's equipment, Sam Snead in today's equipment.
But you're also putting
they're in
everyone,
the same conversation,
You're
in my
also-
opinion.
You're also
Yeah.
putting everyone else in that generation in that equipment too, so it equals out.
Reverse it. Reverse it.
That's where I was
Yeah.
going to go with
Yeah.
it. Is if you put Tiger back,
Yeah,
does Jack win as many tournaments with Tiger in play?
that's a good question.
Right?
It's like if Tiger was never here, Phil probably would have won a crap load more tournaments.
Yeah.
Not gonna
No,
say he's
because
gonna
he
win.
would.
That. Probably
He
not the
still
same
would have
amount
done
of-
the same thing in the U.S. Open.
Probably
and
not
I
the
love
same
Phil
amount as
Mickelson.
Tiger.
I love Phil Mickelson.
Yeah.
You know, but Phil's going to have his same career wherever you put him because he's going to play how he plays.
He's
which
always
is
going to go for it.
One of the reasons I love watching Phil play.
Yeah. No, I'm with you there. You talk about, a fan's guy, right? Like, Phil will hit any shot, no matter what the circumstance is. I mean, that shot that he hit in the U.S. Open was completely stupid,
Yeah.
but he was playing to win, man.
Yeah.
And I
And
respect. It's awesome.
you know,
Cost him the tournament.
how often does he make that shot?
A lot more than he misses it,
Yeah.
for sure. Right?
You know,
So,
and he makes that shot, and everybody's, he's in another status, history wise.
yeah, it's interesting because my best buddy, Brad Butler from back home, his dad, Greg, huge baseball guy. I mean, you can't go to their house and there's not a baseball game on. And he was a lot like what you described, just loved the game. But Greg and I would always get into the Michael Jordan argument. Jordan at the time when I was in high school, he was the man, right? He was like, it's like these kids talking about LeBron now. Sorry, MJ's way better than LeBron. Okay, that's just how it is. And so I would say the same thing, to Greg. I'd be like, dude, there's nobody generationally that's even close to this guy. Like, he's the best that's ever done it. Period. He changed the game of basketball. And like, to be that type of
I'm with
player, you got to be the man. But he would always bring up Dr. J, or what about Wilt, or what about this guy or this guy? Bill Russell, what about him? And I'm like, they were positional guys. They were just guys that, they were good. They were dominant, but they wasn't MJ.
Here's my take on MJ compared to all those guys. Because Larry Bird's in that same discussion.
For sure.
Were they all selling out every arena they played in?
Yeah. No.
I argue every team should have been paying Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
I mean, LeBron, the Lakers can go into OKC or somewhere, or Charlotte that may not draw that well. Not necessarily sell out because of LeBron.
Mm-hmm.
The Bulls in their heyday, every game they played
Yeah.
sold out arenas.
So can you measure ticket sales with Tiger versus Jack?
Well, I'm telling you right now, Tiger definitively, this is absolute fact. The PGA Tour, since Tiger has not been playing, is down something like 40% in viewership. Nobody watches. Now, if Scheffler's playing, because he started, people love dominance, man.
Yeah.
They love to see dominant players. And if you're a purist, which, I understand, like, baseball, there's baseball purists, man. They just love the game, and they don't want to get into they're going to watch regardless, right? If their team's on, or if another team's on that they don't even like, they're going to watch because they love the game. And golf is very similar to that. There's going to be a lot of people that don't look at it through the same lens, but Tiger's dominance is absolutely unquestionable. I mean, what he's done for the game of golf is, and you talked about Ricky earlier. Like, think about it this way. Ricky took a company that was dead in the water and made them a mid-tier company, if not a little better, right? So
Yeah.
brought them back to being relevant in the industry.
Would Nike Golf ever have been relevant without Tiger?
Bro, Tiger took Nike that didn't even make clubs. They decided to make clubs because of Tiger,
Yep.
right? And yeah, Nike went away, but there was also a 9-iron coming at Tiger's head by old girl, right? That kind of caused some problems. You know what I mean? But Tiger, for money, like Jack. Let me say this first. Jack and Arnie, okay? They definitely transcended the game. They brought a lot of eyes to the game. They made golf more popular. They certainly had their hand in making golf what it is today. No question about that. I don't want to. This is not crapping on those guys for sure.
No.
But their influence, and again, part of this is technology. Golf is more vastly covered now. There's more media attention to it, so on and so forth, right? So, you have Jack and Arnie, and they kind of did this to golf, right? They made it this much more relevant, which is awesome. That's a game changer. Tiger made golf global.
Sure.
He went and took it to the moon, took it to places nobody ever thought. I mean, these guys are playing for what? $3 million, to win. You're going to win $3 million if you win. Does that happen without Tiger?
No.
No chance.
No, I give him all the credit
Yeah.
for that.
Yeah. I mean, so now when you're talking about GOAT status, right? All Jack really has to hang his hat on is majors. And I would argue that the field of guys he was playing against to win those majors, it wasn't as advanced as the field that Tiger had. And I'll tell you why that is. Tiger grew the game so exponentially. You had, dude, that's why it's near impossible to get on tour now.
Yeah.
It's near impossible.
It's crazy.
How
The
hard
guys
it
are
is.
so good.
Yeah.
People,
And there's a ton of them now.
Zachary carried a 0 handicap for a period.
Still do.
You know,
Still do. Definitely not accurate.
and
Definitely not accurate, but I still
people
carry
don't
it.
understand the difference between that and a guy on tour.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like if you want to know how good those guys are, when the Nationwide used to come out here,
Right.
okay, they would fire in qualifying rounds, guys. Qualifying rounds at Green Tree one year. 62 was shot by they had a playoff at 62. Okay, at Green Tree, which I would argue of all the courses
Playing from beyond the tips.
Yeah, playing from professional tees. And I would argue that of all the courses, and again, this is not any shade, I think Green Tree is a very specific country club type golf course, but it's designed to be a member-friendly course. Pros are going to, put it this way, par at Green Tree 68 for those guys.
Yeah.
Simple as that. If they shoot anything higher than 64, they consider it an average to not good round. They're going to come out here. I mean, at Midland Country Club, dude, the winning scores were like 24, 25 under par for 3 days. You got to be kidding me.
Yeah.
I mean, it's incredible. And by the way, you've got those guys at the now Korn Ferry level, right? And then there's the PGA guys. There's a massive gap between the average group of guys on the Korn Ferry and the average group of guys on the PGA Tour.
Yeah.
That's what's
Huge gap.
crazy.
Yeah.
And so the days of just going out and trying to get on tour, those days are over. You're not going to do it. You can try Monday qualifying and stuff like that, but you ain't going to get there unless you can shoot 61 or 2. Maybe 63 if the course is hard.
Yeah.
Right? It's just crazy how good these players become.
It's insane. I mean, and the kids playing today, it's like all the tournaments I used to take Zachary to before he was in high school, and you'd show up on a Saturday morning in Canyon Lake, or not Canyon Lake, in Canyon, Texas, you know, and there's 160 kids playing in a golf tournament on a Saturday morning.
Yeah.
12 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's crazy how much the game has grown, and this next I guess generation of PGA Tour players, that's the biggest thing that I think all those guys have to remember is they are now charged with being the next generation that continues this growth curve for golf.
Yeah.
You darn sure don't want to be the generation that makes the curve
No.
switch to the downward trend, right? So, and I think they've got some. I mean, Scotty Scheffler, man, that guy's a freak, and guys like that are going to be, and Ricky. Hopefully, Ricky has a resurgence, but it's hard to even consider this. But dude, Ricky's getting older.
Yeah.
But he has one of the best swings of his career right now.
Yeah, for sure. But I mean, there's going to be a point in the very near future where Ricky's going to be older. Right?
Don't say that. Don't say that.
But, it's crazy to think of that, right? Because it doesn't seem like that long ago that he was just some young whippersnapper from Oklahoma State coming out and doing his thing.
And it's all orange.
Yeah.
So Ray, I want to point this out because I know that you're on a schedule. So I want to point this out. We had this last weekend. We had our ballpark links.
Yes.
And thanks to you, that's come to fruition here in Midland. The Ballpark Links, folks, is an event that we put on at the Rockhound Stadium, and Ray and his team have been so gracious to host us out there. And they set up on the field, right? They put some greens out there, some targets, kind of like Top Golf, I would say, in a way. But what's really cool about this, man, they've ripped off our idea, right? I mean, there's some major league teams doing it now.
Yeah.
We started that, just so everybody knows, right? That was Ray's idea. We started it. I want to give him full credit, but we do this in the spring and the fall, so we will have a spring session in 2025 that we're super excited about and encourage everybody to come out and play in that. Also, one other thing I want to mention, because Brandon Darnold just called in, and dude, he's got his tournament flyer out. He's got his website up. Is that correct? Correct. And you can now sign up for that junior event that's going to be in Andrews, right? December 14th and 15th, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, sir.
And they're gonna have an amazing deal. And what's really cool about this, gang, imagine if you'd have had this. They're gonna bring college coaches out, and they're gonna have basically a little Q&A session on day one, and people can learn how to get their kids to the next level, how to go from high school to college, and they're gonna give you all the tips and tricks for that. And then on the 15th, they're playing a ranked tournament in Andrews.
That's awesome.
Isn't that
That
cool?
is cool.
So he's got all that set up now. Do we have a website name, Clinton? Okay, Clinton's working on that. But we had a nice lady call yesterday asking how to sign up for it. In the meantime, you can call Andrews and they can Andrews Golf Course, and they can certainly get you squared away there. But Brandon now has flyers and a website where you can sign up for that. We encourage you to do that. Now, I have one more question for you.
Okay.
How long have you been with the Rockhounds?
I'm about to finish my 28th year.
Holy cow! And how'd you start there?
I actually met Monty at a promotional seminar in El Paso. Jim Paul used to own the El Paso Diablos for many years. Used to do a September promo seminar where after the baseball season, teams would go there, and all they did was minor league baseball. All they do is rip each other off in a good way.
Sure.
Because it's the weirdest thing. Minor league baseball, our side of things, what I do, selling, running the business side of the Rockhounds, we are not in any competition with Amarillo, with Frisco, with San Antonio, anybody in our league. The only competition is on the field. So this promo seminar is basically teams sharing great ideas from operations to promotions to selling campaigns, what worked for them. And I had interned, just basically had been in LA for 6-7 years after college, and just was tired of the rat race, tired of trying to figure out, depending on time of day, how long it was going to take me to get somewhere, which kind of Midland is getting like that. Interned with a team in Everett, Washington, and they were going to expand their stadium, had a bond passed. They were going to keep me on because the stadium was going to double in size. Well, all the construction bids came in $1 million, $2 million over the bond, and how politics and government works, you can't just, we're just going to revise down to that. They had to trash can it all and start from scratch again. So they weren't going to expand their staff, but they're like, hey, well, we're going to send you to El Paso to this seminar, and there's a lot of people that go there looking for jobs, and we're going to let you speak. I'm like, wait a minute. Me speak?
Yeah.
I told you earlier I don't do it.
Yeah.
I can do Q&A. I can't do speeches. Anyways, I did a thing on our you crack 'em, you bag 'em, in Everett. We used to sell bags of peanuts with a paper bag that was empty to basically help us on the cleanup afterwards. It worked. So I did this speech on that, and I finished my speech with, oh, and by the way, I'm looking for a job. And and shortly after, this guy named Bob Flannery, who's running the Rocky Mountain Vibe right now, comes up to me. He's like, "Hey, I'm with Midland. We want to talk to you." I'm like, "Okay, cool." He's like, "Yeah, just that you had the nerve to tell this room of 400 minor league veterans that you're looking for a job and they need to hire you. We need to talk to you." I'm like, "Oh, great." Then I met Monty and another guy, Jeff Von Holly, he's in Colorado Springs with a soccer team now, but he was here for 28, 29 years as well. Met all three of these guys in El Paso, and things were good. And Monty was never, and he's the first one to admit he never makes a snap decision. Mm-hmm. And he's like, "All right, let's talk next week." So I'm leaving. I felt really good, and now on my flight out of El Paso, I end up sitting next to the guy that runs at the time, independent team in Minneapolis, St. Paul Saints. Now they're a big time trip. They are probably top 2 or 3 teams in the country in minor league baseball now. And he's like, "Man, I heard you speak, met you a couple times. This thing in Midland doesn't work out. You give me a call." Never needed to call him. But I talked to Monty for months. I mean, I think after the 3rd or 4th call, it was a given I was coming to Midland. But just trying to figure out what it is I was going to do in Midland. So the first time I had my official offer of what I was going to do from Monty, I was going to run operations, the stadium cleanup crew and whatnot, and help in the groups department. The very next phone call, because we talked every Wednesday, the very next phone call, he's like, "Hey, we just bought we're bringing this hockey team to Odessa, the Jackalopes. Mm-hmm. We bought the concession company there too. We need somebody to run the concession company." And I'm like, I don't know anything. I'm thinking to myself, I don't know squat about concessions. Sure, I can do that.
Yeah.
He's like, "But you won't have to do it by yourself. We've got this guy running the baseball things. He'll be like overseeing you and helping you out there." I'm like, "Cool, we can do that." Well, the very next week, he's like, "Well, we've been talking. Our assistant GM, we call him Pickle, Rick Carden. He's been doing the merchandise here forever, but we decided now that we've got 2 professional teams, we need this merchandise needs to be almost a full-time job. You think you can do that?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, sure." Closest thing I've ever done to being a merchandiser was buying stuff for myself. Didn't know anything about merchandise, and here, 28 years later, I'm actually, this might be news to who's ever watching, I'm not running merchandise for the Rockhounds. We hired an intern, and her name's Nicole. She interned with us last year, and we hired her full time. She's taking over the merchandise for the Rockhounds. She's going to take it to a whole nother level. Anyhow, so that's how I ended up here and coming in and doing sales. And then for the longest time, Monty'd tell me every year in our evaluations, "Ray, if you can make so much more money if you just get into this sales. I see you around the ballpark, how you interact with people." you can do this sales stuff. No, I'm not going to do sales. You know, it's that word.
Right.
I'm not going to do sales. He's like, it's not. You do what you do. You can do this. You know, in the first year in the new ballpark, you know, all of a sudden, you know, I did like, it's pennies now, but I did like $90,000 in sales and got all these commission checks. And I'm like, oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I can do this.
Yeah.
You know, here I am. Here I am. Now we've been in the new ballpark. This will be, next year is our 25th year, our 24th season in the new ballpark. And,
That's incredible.
you know, doing $1 million in sales.
So when do season tickets for next year go on sale?
They're going on now.
So you can get your Rockhound season tickets now.
Yeah, and as of November 1st, every seat that's not already sold is up for grabs. As well, November 2nd, the last day to guarantee people keeping their seats is November 1st.
That's cool.
Yeah. So.
What an awesome career, man.
Oh, it's. I mean, are you gonna get filthy rich? No, but I mean, you can do all right. I mean, we're comfortable.
Yeah.
I've afforded taking him to golf tournaments and baseball tournaments all over the state as a kid. But
Yeah.
you know, it's fun. I mean, every one of my kids, Laura and I are blessed to have Zachary late in life, but I have 5 wonderful stepchildren that are older than Zachary, and all 6 of my kids grew up working at the ballpark. Every single one of them.
Even David?
Yeah.
Really?
Yep.
That's so cool.
David's the only one that ever worked full time for the Rockhounds.
When did you do that?
He was 19 or 20 years old, my oldest, who's now 42.
Why were you slacking off, bro?
I got college to worry about. College is a full-time job itself.
Yeah, and I met my wife at the ballpark.
Really?
Yeah, Laura and I met at the ballpark. Yeah.
So was she just a patron there? Or was she working there?
Yeah.
Y'all met when they were the Angels,
Two of
right?
my stepsons were kind of ragamuffins running around the old ballpark. And I used to mess with them all the time, and they were walking out of the game one night, and Laura's with them, and I was like, I'm just cracking a joke. These two with you? You know, it kind of blossomed from there.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
So did you ask her out at the ballpark?
I don't think I asked her out that night, but I did ask. I asked her out at a game, and our first date was actually after a game.
Really?
Yeah.
I get off here in a minute. Yeah, we'll go. That's cool.
Bennigan's. Remember Bennigan's?
Yeah.
They're the best wings.
Yeah.
Golly, man.
Where was that at?
Where Genghis Khan is.
Genghis Grill.
Genghis Grill.
Genghis Khan.
Genghis Khan. Over by the mall?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is Genghis Grill still a thing?
It
They
is.
just closed down.
Yeah.
Oh,
But
did
I
they?
mean, the ballpark's a great place to be. I mean, Zachary probably doesn't remember this. So this will be my last story because I got to do a thing with Boys and Girls Club this morning. He's 4, maybe 5. But I mean, I don't know, when do you start learning how to tie your shoes?
4 or 5.
Yeah.
I learned from a
Right.
Rockhounds player.
And I'm like, couldn't figure out where Zachary was, and it was before gates were opening, and I'm like, God, I hope he's not in the clubhouse. And I'm walking the clubhouse, and there's a full-on team meeting going on in the clubhouse. Coach is having a meeting with every player, and I walk in, I come around the corner by the coach's office, and I look at the thing, and Zachary's sitting in between Adrian Cardenas. Well, he played the big leagues for the Cubs, left baseball in his prime to go to NYU, and now he's a writer.
Wow.
He's sitting between Adrian Cardenas and it's Carney Lansford's son. Carney Lansford played for the A's back in the 70s. His son, I can't remember his first name. He's sitting between them, and the two of them are teaching him how to tie his shoe.
My man.
I'm like, I mean,
I don't remember that, but I do remember, I don't remember, getting taught, but I remember running from the clubhouse to the Diamond Club to show my mom I learned how to tie my shoes. It's like, Mom, look what the players taught me. And I tied them, and I was like,
yeah.
What a cool experience, though, growing up.
Yeah.
To be able to be around all those pro athletes, man.
He literally
that's so
grew up
cool.
out there. He was He was born March 18th, and that same year, first game of the season, he was at the ballpark.
That's awesome.
It's something I'm very grateful for because, I mean, a lot of people don't realize it. All those players are professional baseball players. Like the people, I mean, you got Matt Chapman that came through. Yeah. You got Matt Olson that came through when we were winning, when we got the 4-peat.
Who's
Sonny
your favorite?
Sonny Gray.
Sonny Gray.
Sonny Gray.
Will he text you back still?
I haven't texted him in a while. The last time, so I texted him when he was with, I believe he was with the Reds at the time, and we went to Nashville, and I was like, they were waiting in line at this dinner place, and I'm like, dude, Vanderbilt's down the street from here. So I take one of those like bird scooters down to Vanderbilt, and I'm like
I have no idea where he was. He's 13, 14 years old.
And I'm just like riding this scooter around the baseball, and I see a flag, and it's Sonny Gray's flag from when he was at Vanderbilt. And so I texted him, I sent him a picture, and he texted me back. That's the last time I texted him. But he taught me how to pitch. He taught me how to throw a curveball, which my dad wasn't very happy with, but because I've been begging him to let me throw a curveball, and he wouldn't let me. So one day I was out because I'd go throw with Sonny, and then I'd do like all his running, all his conditioning.
Everything
he had
Sonny
to do.
did,
yeah,
he did.
And so like one day I was like, Sonny, I need you to teach me to throw a curveball, but don't tell my dad. And he was like, okay, but if you tell him I did it, I'm not doing it. I was like, okay, fine. And then like I remember like and it was a little league game like a couple months later. I threw a curveball, struck this kid out, and I'm walking back to the dugout. My dad stopped me. He was like, what was that? I was like, it was a changeup.
Yeah. I don't know how that happened.
Yeah, I don't know how that happened.
Well, we got to get you to the Boys and Girls Club. But
thanks for having me in. This is awesome.
Thanks so much for coming. And ballpark links coming up in the spring. Also, check out Andrew's Golf. What is it? AndrewsTXGolf.com. That's how you can get on there and sign up for the tournament that we mentioned earlier for the kiddos taking that next step or learning how to take that next step for college. Thank you so much for watching today. The GHQ Crew. We'll see you next time. Have a good one.